When encryption expires. A lock does not need to break today to become dangerous. Sometimes it only needs an expiration date. For most people, encryption feels binary. Protected. Or not protected. Secure. Or hacked. But that is not how digital trust really works. Encryption is not only a wall. Encryption is time. Some secrets need to stay private for 1 hour. Some for 1 year. Some for 10 years. Some for an entire human life. And that is where the quantum problem begins. A powerful quantum computer does not need to destroy the whole internet tomorrow. It only needs to make today's captured secrets readable later. That is the uncomfortable idea behind harvest-now-decrypt-later. Someone can collect encrypted data today. Traffic. Files. Messages. Identity records. Financial archives. Diplomatic documents. Source code. Medical histories. Private keys. They may not be able to read it today. But if the data is valuable for long enough, they can store it and wait. In that world, the question is no longer only, is this encrypted? The better question is, how long must this remain secret? ## the old lock was built for the old enemy. Modern public key cryptography is one of the invisible miracles of the internet. It protects banking sessions, software updates, cloud connections, messaging, authentication, device identity, corporate networks, blockchain signatures. The ordinary user does not see it. But every day, digital civilization depends on mathematical locks. The problem is that many of those locks were designed for classical computers. RSA. Elliptic curve cryptography. Key exchange systems that work because certain mathematical problems are brutally hard for today's machines. A sufficiently capable cryptographic quantum computer changes that assumption. Not for every type of cryptography in the same way. Not instantly. Not magically. But enough to make the public key layer of the internet a migration problem. This is why NIST finalized the first post-quantum cryptography standards. MLKEM for key establishment. MLDSA for digital signatures. SLHDSA as a hash-based signature option. The point is simple. Do not wait until the old lock fails in public. Change the lock while the door is still closed. ## harvest-now-decrypt-later. The phrase sounds technical. But the human meaning is very simple. Imagine someone records your encrypted conversation today. They cannot open it. So they keep it. 5 years later, 10 years later, or whenever stronger tools arrive, they try again. If the conversation still matters, the attack worked. That is why long-lived data is the real battlefield. A pizza delivery confirmation does not need 30 years of secrecy. A state archive might. A medical record might. A defense system might. A corporate acquisition plan might. A biometric identity database might. A wallet recovery process might. A chain of signatures that secures billions of dollars might. The dangerous part is not only future decryption. The dangerous part is present complacency. People think, the attacker cannot read this today, so I am safe. But the attacker may not be playing today's game. The attacker may be buying the future. ## security becomes inventory. Post-quantum migration is not just a math problem. It is an inventory problem. Where do we use RSA? Where do we use elliptic curves? Which certificates expire when? Which devices cannot be updated? Which vendors still depend on old libraries? Which archives must remain confidential beyond the quantum risk horizon? Which blockchain addresses expose public keys? Which smart contracts cannot rotate their assumptions? Which hardware security modules support new algorithms? Which internal systems are so old that nobody remembers who owns them? This is where the story becomes less cinematic and more serious. The future of cryptography will not be decided only by laboratories. It will be decided by migration discipline, documentation, procurement, asset discovery, software bills of materials, protocol upgrades, vendor pressure, testing, fallbacks, governance. The White House, CISA, NSA, NIST, Cloudflare, Google, the IETF and many others are already treating this as infrastructure. Not because the sky is falling tomorrow. Because migration at civilization scale takes years. ## the internet is moving before the user notices. This is how real infrastructure changes. Not with one dramatic switch. But quietly. Layer by layer. Cloudflare has laid out a post-quantum roadmap for its network. TLS work is moving toward hybrid key exchange designs that combine classical cryptography with MLKEM. Browsers, CDNs, cloud providers, governments, and security vendors are testing transition paths. The ordinary user may only see a lock icon in the browser. But under that icon, the lock is changing. This matters because trust must remain boring. If users suddenly notice cryptography, something has already gone wrong. The best migration is the one that happens before panic. Before headlines. Before a catastrophic proof. Before stolen archives become readable. ## crypto has its own version of the problem. This is also important for the crypto world. Blockchains are built on signatures. Wallets are built on keys. Bridges are built on verification. Custody is built on assumptions. Smart contracts are built on code that may live longer than the companies that wrote it. That does not mean every chain dies because quantum computers exist. That is lazy thinking. The better question is: can the system migrate? Can wallets rotate? Can protocols change signature schemes? Can old addresses be protected? Can bridges upgrade verification? Can custody providers move before a crisis? Can users understand that a key is not eternal? The strongest systems will not be the systems that pretend the lock lasts forever. The strongest systems will be the systems that can replace the lock without destroying the house. ## the deeper lesson. Every generation believes its security model is permanent. Then the environment changes. The castle wall was permanent until artillery. The password was enough until phishing. The centralized database was enough until mass breaches. The old cryptographic assumption is enough until the machine clash changes. This is not a story about fear. It is a story about expiration. Digital civilization is built on promises. This message is private. This transaction is authentic. This update is trusted. This identity is real. This archive is protected. This signature belongs to the right key. When encryption expires, those promises do not disappear all at once. They become negotiable. And civilization cannot run on negotiable trust. ## the modern human question. The important question is no longer: do we have encryption? The better question is: what is the lifetime of this trust? Against which attacker? For how many years? Can the system rotate? Can the archive survive? Can the keys move? Can the protocol evolve without breaking the people who depend on it? That is the real quantum lesson. Not that the future will magically break everything, but that every security system has a clock inside it. Some clocks run slowly. Some run quietly. Some are already ticking. And the smartest builders do not wait for the lock to shatter. They replace it before the world hears the crack.